looking reasonably like a radio recreation. So,
and for anyone who actually wants to see that hour-long television episode, it's been available commercially. It's been released by CBS. Also, I believe there's a couple vendors in there who may have it on DVD. Fred Burney, I believe, brings it almost every year to conventions. It's called The Night America Trembled. So that shouldn't be too difficult to find in the vendor room, if not on Amazon.com or whatever your local video store.
I want to jump ahead now. Of course, that was in 1957. Then in 1964, a station out in San Francisco created another version of the Orson Welles, based on the Orson Welles story. It was radio station KPEN in San Francisco, but they just generally localized it. Then in 1965, they redid it again, and of course, they updated everything, and so the music, instead of being Ramon Raquel, they were playing like Simon and Garfunkel and things like that, music of the period. In 1967, the BBC did their second version. Their first version was back in the 50s, and it was done set in Victorian times, very much like the novel itself. In 67, they updated it to where there were jets and things like that. I do have a little short piece of that, which I It's a six-part series. I'm going to just start with the beginning of part 3 here.
Over again. The hideous days ahead. The fighting machines. Many authorities, including Ogilvy, my own chief assistant, and Sir James Stent, the Astronomer Royal, wouldn't believe me when I said that the 10 consecutive brilliant flashes on the surface of Mars were made by the firing of giant projectiles. But one bright morning, a few months later, one of them landed in a sandpit on Horselsall Common, not far from my observatory in Surrey. We thought it was a meteorite at first. But it wasn't. It was a huge metal cylinder. And by the time we reached it, it was starting to open. Everyone fled from the crater where it had landed, but my scientific curiosity got the better of me. And I stayed at the edge to see who or what was inside. And formidable brutes they looked, too. Soon, Sandwich left Dora in our own car and began the journey back in the car I hired. Dora's face was very white when we
passed. It isn't all narrated like this.
Heaven only knows what impulse urged me to return to the shore that night. Somehow I felt I had to know what was going on. It sounds ridiculous, but I was afraid, really afraid, that the gunners had already exterminated the Martians. I had a desperate desire to get back. So, in the driving rain and the lowering storm clouds, I took a shortcut through Ockham, Ripley, and Perth.
We'll move ahead here because we're running low on time. Okay, basically the thing I wanted to mainly focus on was, and I see somebody from Buffalo up here. In 1968, the first of another broadcast of the War of the Worlds, which actually ensued in panic, took place in the Buffalo area, and I'm hoping that maybe you might be explain at least a little bit more to me about. There was an area called Grand Island. Is it actually an island?
Yes, it is. People left downtown Buffalo from like the City Hall area and city officials and also county officials at a nearby building. And you just go up, you take the expressway up north and will take you across the bridge onto Grand Island.
Okay.
So it's up towards.
And then on into Canada if you wanted to?
I suppose you eventually get up to Canada. Yeah, you eventually will get up to Canada, across the other bridge.
Basically, what happened is they put it in the format at the time, So I do have some clips. Technically, it's not really available, but there are 3 clips that I have from that 68 broadcast. There is incomplete total, a 71 version of it that they redid later, which is very similar, but it didn't have the panic that ensued afterwards. But basically, as you'll hear, is if you were familiar with that period of time with the DJs and the type of music, and some of it's a little bit cut as the way this clip that I had, but you'll hear some Beatles music and things like that. But it starts out first with just simply a bulletin that took place when the news was on.
And finally, this story from the Mount Palomar Observatory in California. For the past 2 nights, astronomers have been closely watching a series of huge explosions that have been taking place on the surface of the planet Mars. The observatory's director, Dr. Benjamin Spencer, says that although they appear to have as much energy as hydrogen bomb blasts, they are undoubtedly of natural origin. Dr. Spencer described the explosions as looking like, quote, tremendous jets of blue flame shooting out into space, end of quote. He said that although scientists are concerned over the large amounts of gas and foreign material that the explosions are sending into space, they are not likely to have any effect on the Earth. Mars is currently over 40 million miles away. The Buffalo weather, clear and chilly tonight, low in the mid-30s, down to the frost level in some rural areas. Mostly sunny and warmer tomorrow, high 60 to 65. Fair and not as cool tomorrow night, low in the 40s. The outlook for Saturday, increasing clouds and warmer. Present Buffalo temperature now 34. KB Total News has been brought to you by the Peace Corps. Join the Peace Corps and help build something like Latin America, Asia, and Africa. This is Joe Daly reporting.
Here, KB Total News on the hour and half hour, 24 hours a day. Welcome back to music on the Sandy Beach Radio Show on Halloween night. It's 11:05. Did you hear that story in Joe Daly's newscast about the explosions on Mars? It said they look like giant blue flames. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be wild if this was a big publicity stunt for the gas company? KB Total News Bulletin. It's been reported that a large meteor has smashed into the ground along the East River Road on Grand Island, setting off a series of fires. Several lives have been lost. KB Total News Director Don Lancer on the way to the scene. Repeating, a large meteor is reported to have smashed into the ground on Grand Island, killing several people and touching off a series of fires. This has been a KB Total News Bulletin. All the details on KB Total News, straight down the line on the half hour.
Okay, basically that's all I have in that part of it. Then later on, the reporters actually are on the scene and they're starting to broadcast. Now, what they used is they originally wrote the script. They were going to try to do it in a studio type of setup and so on, but they found that the reporters apparently are best at just ad-libbing and telling the news, you know, as they report it and that type of thing. So he ended up throwing the script out and he just said, okay, here's an outline, here's how we're going to approach things and so on. Just report, you know, and ad-lib as you go along. So the next part is they're actually on the island, and Don Lancer has arrived on the island, and he and I think another reporter. Let's see. I have the wrong one.
They're coming over. John, they're not letting the people across. They're not letting anybody across. You're them coming over here. I don't know what they're going to do. Either on, John, either on or off the island. No, nobody. On or off. The island is completely sealed off. What's the military up to on where are you? On the Long River Road here at the actual oil tanks here, the refinery. The guard is just establishing a perimeter here. They're trying artillery units. I've never seen artillery units like this. Huge cannon being established around here, and there are hundreds of troops coming in. They're just coming in scores of trucks and everything they can get together, apparently. I've never seen so much military force in one place in my life. Have you seen anything of any of our mobile units? Because Lancer was on the island. We haven't seen. I haven't seen a thing, man. I just haven't been able to get across there. They're blocking. They didn't even press credentials. Nothing was good. They just wouldn't let me over there. My God, they've blown the bridge. The bridge. One bridge is gone. It's down in the river. It's like something I've never seen it. What about the John? Were there any people on the bridge when it went? There was some on the other side. They were trying to get over on the far side. I don't know what. Now people are jumping in from the other side. They're trying to swim the thing. They can't
sort of